Hello everyone, I'm Nnamdi Odipo. We're live in Abuja and this is the Ballot. Thanks for joining us tonight. I know you may have heard me say this time and again, but I reckon if there was ever a time to overflog an issue, now is the time, provided it ends up encouraging people to be on their toes for the elections and to go out to vote on election day. It is indeed crunch time, folks, and I mean the D-Day is just around the corner, is as good as here, if you ask me, and it is time to begin those last-minute preparations on how you intend to perhaps get to your voting center and who gets your vote. If you're still undecided on that, well, just maybe my guest for tonight can convince you to vote for his principal, or maybe not. Well, we'll get right into that conversation presently, but first, let's bring you some of tonight's major news highlights. APC mass election campaign climaxes with Lagos showpiece.
We believe they garner more experience, they garner more knowledge.
PDP embraces more support groups as the clock ticks towards February 25.
I believe in Nigeria, and we really have to deal with it.
The London Economist endorses Labour Party just as Obidati movement takes campaign to Zauzau. Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos, today hosted the grand finale of the APC presidential campaign rally amid fanfare and what was undoubtedly a colorful event. With the president himself rallying the APC troops, the event could very well be described as a mega event in a mega city, or a city touted as one of Nigeria's mega cities.
Raise the hand of the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mohammed Tinubu, and the governor of Lagos State, Sam Olu. Congratulations, and I wish APC the real best of luck.
All the agenda set in our program, Renewed Hope Manifesto, will be pursued diligently, vigorously, with all our energy.
Some last-minute endorsements have been coming in from diverse groups for the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, with just a few days to the election. The show of support and public endorsements are boosting the morale of an opposition party keen on clinching power in this weekend's presidential election.
And we believe he garner more experience, he garner more knowledge, and he has the competency now to give us the best leadership. That is our prayer.
The PD family is very united and is very ready for the elections.
Speaking of endorsements, the Labour Party has also been getting a pretty good share. Its latest endorsement comes from the London-based newspaper, The Economist, which says Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, is the best choice for Nigeria. Meanwhile, the Labour Party presidential candidate, Peter Obi, during an advocacy visit to the palace of the Emir of Zauzau, Ahmed Nuhu Bamali, reaffirmed his party's commitment to foster a public-spirited, transparent and goal-oriented government, even when elected by Nigerians.
Today is anybody who can, give direction, guarantee security and lives of people.
I believe in Nigeria, and we really have to deal with it. It is time to throw away what divides us and bring in what unites us. My commitment is to do that.
Well, now I I think I've kept you in the dark long enough on who my guest is for tonight, and it's time to unveil that's mystery. He is a man of the pen profession, held in high esteem, honestly speaking, that is, and an editor many times over. He appears on the ballot tonight in his capacity as Deputy Director, Media and Publicity, APC Presidential Campaign Council. I'd like to welcome Ali. Actually, it's Ali M. Ali. That's how he's more popularly known to the ballot walk. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in.
Well, it's good to be here. You've been my hype man, so to say. I thought for a moment you were going to introduce
I'm not campaigning
else.
For you. You're not on the ballot.
My hype man, so to say. So it's good to be on your show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I'm privileged to be here.
Thank
you
you
very
so
much for having me today.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure. I would like to begin with a pointed question on the seeming divide in the leadership structure of the APC at this point. I mean, or rather, where we are right now with your party, who would you describe as the most senior member and leader of the APC in the country? Is he still the president, and does he still have the backing of all of the party organs? And by that, I mean the NWC, the Board of Trustees, the National and State Committees, and others as well. Otherwise, I am tempted to ask if there are some truth to insinuations that your party, the APC, may be on the verge of implosion, going by the fact that your party is clearly in conflict over several issues. The CBN Naira redesign policy is just one of them. Can you clarify how the position of the position of your presidential candidate is not a direct discontent and variation with a policy initiated by his own party, and why your governors are on rampage, about 10 or so of them, are on a coalition course with the APC government? How do you want voters to, at this point, take you seriously as a party?
Well, I think that's it's a very germane question, I must say. Are we at war? Is the party at war? Is it?
Some have said it's not just a civil war; it's a world war within the APC.
Well, you see, people are likely to give it different kind of interpretation, but some of us insiders see it differently. We see it as basically a misunderstanding on the party with the governors of the party.
Expensive one, I should say.
Well, expensive depending on how you look at it. I think it's a question of perspective, because the governors and the NWC, they are acting on behalf of the people, and the people here, the APC governors, feel strongly and that they are being shortchanged by the
president?
Not by the president, by a shadowy cabal.
Did they
have to make that distinction here, because the president unwittingly or wittingly would not go after a policy. Look at what the bone of contention here is.
Ali, are you saying the president is not in charge?
No. But you see, that is the thing again. It's not a yes or no kind
question.
of thing.
No, and I get that. Please help us put it in proper context.
Because see, what we're saying now, we welcome the Naira redesign like all patriotic citizens.
Okay.
Given the intent. But what we're saying, and this is where the bone of contention has been in contention, what we're saying is the window given for the Naira currency swap, for the currency change. This is why we think that the window should have been extended like it's done elsewhere, like it's common practice in even more developed climes, that you have two currencies, different designs, existing side by side. One common example we often make reference to is the current currency swap going on in the UK, where you have a new king, like it's customary when you have a new monarch, the old monarch, the deceased monarch, eventually.
That seems to have gone pretty well.
Yeah, it seems to go pretty well. But when you create it, when you insist for a window at a time, something as explosive, as important as an election, where, see, when people make this, is because, we want to get some people who have been hiding money. They've turned their
we've heard all sorts of insinuations.
Exactly.
But would you admit that the conflict right now over this issue is making people look at your party somewhat?
I think the people are sufficiently informed to know that, look, this is not a policy the APC would willingly want to bring the pains of the exchange, the swap. The APC would not do that, and that's why you see there's this, if you like, a seeming division, because the NWC, the National Working Committee, the party governors, and indeed well-meaning Nigerians say, look, let's extend it. Even the Supreme Court passed a verdict like, look, the naira, the old currency should go on as a legal tender.
Yes.
So that wouldn't be because showing that, no, we're talking, maybe this is the time to test the constitution, really. But all said and done, there is not really, the president is still the commander-in-chief. Okay. Certainly.
And still the leader of your party.
And still the leader of the party. That is not in contest. That is not in dispute.
Great. And well, I'm sure you know that the house divided within itself cannot stand. I mean, it's
what we're saying is, and I will say it for the uptent time, not in this forum, but in other forum, I've said it for the uptent time, and I'm going to repeat it here again. There is no rift between the president and the presidential candidate of the party, but there is this
shadowy,
which we blame. Yes, with the governor of Kaduna State has been very expressive and very forward about this shadowy cabal.
You know, do you still feel
they are still irritated? They are still feeling sore. They are sore losers because their candidate, and more especially the flip-flop policies of the CBN governor, which has, in more ways than one,
let's not go into the functions of the CBN and what the law guarantees that it does. I think we should stick to your party and your chances at this election. Do you still feel confident that campaigning on the legacies of the current APC administration, and especially inching your campaign on continuity, albeit renewed hope, was a good move? Would your candidate's reputation as a shrewd businessman, manager of persons and resources, as well as his vast political experience, not have been a better unique selling point? If you ask him, I noticed that his close aides and supporters, I'm not going to mention names now, have been doing that mostly in the last few days leading to the election. Is that a deliberate technique?
Doing what exactly?
Campaigning on his experience especially as governor of Lagos State.
Well, that is not in doubt. The man is a bridge builder.
I mean, they've been doing that more than them campaigning on the legacies of the current administration.
I think is a perception, because all along the presidential candidate has always maintained that he's going to build on the legacies which are quite enormous, the legacies bequeathed by the outgoing administration, hopefully, and that he's not going to do, just like the present government has done, completed project initiated by the PDP years ago, which were abandoned. And there is no way the presidential candidate can extricate himself from the legacies of this government. And after all, he helped to midwife this government. He helped part of the legacy. He came along with other progressive elements in 2014, which Nigerians know how the APC came into business and how it dislodged the PDP. So there is no way we can run, the presidential candidate can run, and the legacies of these administrations worth applauding. Look at it, for example. Look at this lingering issue of insecurity. With that, in the past, it was common for insurgent element to routinely displace, hold onto territory, declare, caliphates, kingdoms, and then hoist foreign flags, and then declare republics. But now
that has been tamed. You know what? I have often questioned the structure and functions of representative democracy, particularly with the rather huge responsibility placed on political parties to do most of the work of organizing politics. The question of whether political parties in Nigeria realize this responsibility and how they conduct themselves is one for all of the political parties. But for the APC, I'm more interested in finding out if, even at this point where we are on the verge of a transition, if your party, indeed your presidential candidate, realizes the imperatives for deepening our democratic culture. Tell me where and how the renewed hope document envisages at its simplest how to use deliberate or how to use, well, deliberate deliberations or perhaps consensus as well, to build democratic culture that makes government truly accountable to the people?
Well, you see, you have to also look at the political trajectory of the presidential candidate, how from the time he was a federal legislator in the ill-fated Third Republic, and then the political coalitions he has built over time, and then the fostering, if you like, of internal democracy, respecting the wishes of those at the bottom, at the grassroots. Because really, if you look at it, the APC itself, how it started, is actually organic, then metamorphosed into one mega party. If you recall, the APC, just like the PDP at a point, when it started in 1999, 1998, from the G13 to G34, the APC came together was widowed by progressive elements. And now, if you look at Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because his own very nature, for the years he left government in 2007, after he left office as governor of Lagos State in 2007. Since then, he has helped to build coalition, build alliances, given platform to even the presidential candidate of the PDP in 2007. When he was sent packing from the PDP, he came, provided his platform, the ACN at the time, gave him platform. By 2011, again, I'm trying to sketch a man who tries to build coalition, build bridges, give all Nigerians the platform to aspire, to express or to achieve their individual political ambition. If it wasn't a man that was given to developing something from the bottom, an organic movement to what it is today, I don't know who else could better fit that bill. So yes, the APC, and especially with the likes of Asuwaju Bola Ahmed being the progressive element that he is, and bringing the Southwest from opposition to mainstream politics, you will see that there is something that makes the man tick. That is concentration.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that is where the deliberation and consensus comes in. I get that.
Yeah.
Let's talk some economics now, and very quickly too. Where does the APC presidential candidate stand? On some issues I'd like for you to clarify for us. Your principal has said, and repeatedly true too, that he would like to increase public spending for capital projects, whilst being skeptical of placing a cap on public spending vis-a-vis the humongous size of government in Nigeria. He talked about budget deficit as being normal, almost to the point of making it sound like we don't necessarily need a balanced budget to grow our GDP. You may have a better grasp of the dynamics of demand and cost pull inflation than I do, but tell me how your principal's economics is good for a nation that even has to borrow at this point to fund its own yearly budget.
You see, and this is why perhaps Bola Tinubu stands a shoulder above the competition, because of his private sector experience and what he has been able to do to turn the economy of Lagos from where it was to what it is now. If it were a nation state, Lagos would have been the 5th largest economy on the basis of GDP. It's something we like to bandy, and we are proud of what he has done, the magic one.
Magic?
Yeah, it was quite a magic one, because if you look at what is happening in Lagos now, it's a vision of someone who saw tomorrow well ahead of his time.
The vision of one man?
One man is a team. He headed a team.
Are we discontinuing what happened before 1999 in Lagos?
What we're saying, before 1999, compare, just suppose what happened before 1999, especially, and what is happening, what has happened post-1999. You must, no matter how, you can't begrudge the man what a revolution he has made from a paltry income, monthly internally generated revenue of 600 million to, by the time he left office, we're talking about 6 billion. Now you're talking about nearly 50 billion internally generated revenue for a state like Lagos. Now, if you look at it, the Minister of Finance has said Nigeria's problem is not so much but that of revenue problem. If we can boost revenue, then perhaps it's not so much that spending the revenue, check it. And then when we talk about, look at the big economies of the world. Normally they are running in deficit. They are running in deficit. Even the almighty United States, if borrowing was a crime, let me quote what he said. If borrowing was a crime,
yes,
the whole of US would be in jail. But you see, let me even look at it now, how he plans to do that. First, this lingering vexatious issue of power. If you can fix power,
yes,
and this is something that he has said from day one, he's going to wrestle with power. But before then, the lingering insecurity, depending on which of the geopolitical zones you are in. If you are in the northeast, or the northwest, the north central, you see that the peculiarity of the security needs of this.
Unfortunately, I have to butt in here and quickly take you along to the our very popular segment, ticking the boxes. I mean, we're losing time here. You will be presented with a couple of national targets and made to choose one out of 3 options for each target as they align with your view, maybe that of your party or your presidential candidate, and as it concerns the prospect of this target. Ticking the boxes, it comes up next. So I know I say this all the time, but it's good to remind you, the viewer, and our guest on the program, Ali, that the targets in the boxes are mostly public policy issues, and their completion deadline are pegged at 4 years. That translates to the first time of a president in office. We will begin now with the first target in the box. There it goes. If you just look directly at the box there, it says national power sufficiency. Is that a target that is realistic for a Tinubu presidency within 4 years of in office? Is that unrealistic? You think the APC will be undecided on this matter?
No, the APC is very decisive on this, especially with, if you look at the action plan of the candidate. He plans to tackle head-on from day one. So
you're saying it's a realistic target?
Absolutely, it's a realistic
target. So we'll
target.
go with realistic there. Yeah. We'll go to the very next one, end crude oil theft. Do you think this is something that the Tinubu presidency, if given the mandate, can end in 4 years? Is that a realistic target, unrealistic, or are you undecided on the matter?
Well, it's a cartel. It's quite big, it's huge to say it will end in. We're optimistic that we see a drastic reduction.
But you do not think it can be pegged or copped or totally eliminated in 4 years?
It can be eliminated in 4 years. It took years before. Look, only recently it was.
So that's unrealistic. We'll go to the third one: quality tertiary education. Is that something where is that a target that can be achieved in 4 years, where we have a stoppage to the incessant ASU strike, improvement in the quality of tertiary education in Nigeria, and then we begin to see a stop to the Japa syndrome that we're currently experiencing? Do you think that's a realistic target?
Well, 4 years is quite a short period for it to turn around. Yeah, because it takes, look at the educational life cycle from primary to university, an average of 25 years. So to stop the waste, to reverse the rot in that sector, in 4 years, we can only put a stop to the decline. Okay. Then from there, once you stop the decline,
elimination is not possible within 4 years.
It's going to take a while.
We'll go with unrealistic there for you for the third one.
For 4 years.
Yes.
You see, it's not a yes or no, it's a process.
It's a process.
To give it a time
you're limited, unfortunately, to these 3 options.
Yeah, but look, let me just say,
very quickly, yes.
Yeah. You see, let's give the example with Lagos now. If you have a vision, you've led the vision, even of secession, it's doable. Look how it's happening.
Perfect. But for now, I think we'll change that to undecided. We'll change the third target to undecided. Yes, we'll take that to undecided. Finally,
you are not giving me the option of maybe.
You're actually limited to these 3 options on the box.
When you box everything like this in the box, then it's not realistic because it's a process. You're dealing with a lot.
That is why you have realistic, unrealistic, or undecided. I mean, you need to go with either of these options. Let's quickly go to the last one: optimum inland waterway system. Is that a realistic venture? I mean, target?
In 4 years.
In 4 years?
No,
is that? No, unrealistic. We'll go with unrealistic there. I'd like to thank you so much, Ali Leaf, Deputy Director of Media and Publicity, APC Presidential Campaign Council, for coming on the ballot tonight. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much, Nnamdi, for having me. Just like the currency redesign, you don't give me
enough time to talk about that. I'm sorry about that. We'll see either before the election or immediately after the election. We're officially at 3 days in our countdown to election day. It's a few hours, of course, to the presidential National Assembly elections. God willing, by Friday, we will be counting down to the opening hours of 8 a.m. Saturday morning when the votes officially open. It's crunch time, people. Let's go do it. We'll pick this up tomorrow night, possibly with a special edition of the program at 10:30 p.m. My name is Nnamdi Odipo. Bye for now.